What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost. I'm here for a Monday Night Raw review for December the 7th, 2020. We are on our way to the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs pay-per-view, and this show sucks. Plain and simple. This is the best they have. You have all this talent in the world, and this show is fucking abysmal. What's the point of Retribution? These men and one woman are supposed to be out there destroying everybody, and they continue to lose and lose and lose and lose. Bobby Lashley took on Jeff Hardy. Don't know why. Don't really care. Hurt Business still trying to get a tag team championship opportunity. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus team up once again to have a repeat of the main event we had last week, but then add in AJ Styles to make it a 2-on-3 handicap match. This show just, I can't even. One thing that WWE loves to do is they love to overkill everything. Remember back when Becky Lynch said that she was pregnant and she left? And how WWE kept harping on that and overkilling that for like 2-3 weeks? And then a couple months later, you had fucking Asuka come out and chant, Becky, Becky, Becky. It's like, first off, congratulations to Becky and Seth Rollins because they did have their baby. But WWE just continued to beat us over the head with that. Pat Patterson passed away last Wednesday. WWE decides, how can we overkill this? Again, we're going to have a moment of silence and a 10-bell toll on Friday, with multiple video things of Pat Patterson, people, the Twitter accounts, paying homage to Pat Patterson. So what are they going to do on, I didn't watch Tribute to the Troops, I'm sure they did it there too, but what do they do tonight? The same exact thing. You don't have to continue to do the graphic thing. Once is enough, plain and simple. I know it is a big loss for Pat Patterson to be gone. He was a cornerstone member of the backstage group. He was a guy who did a lot for the business. But you just don't have to do all of that. We go to the ring. Out comes Randy Orton. He wants to deal with Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt interrupts on the Titantron. He does a spoof of video of a game show. And then Bray Wyatt is challenged by Randy Orton for a match later in the night, and he does accept. So that is the beginning of the morning. The thing. The announcers hyped Asuka vs. Shayna Baszler as that match is going to be happening very soon. We get a recap of what happened over the last few weeks between Asuka, Lana, and the tag team champions. And because Shayna Baszler has lost not once but twice to Asuka and Lana, they are getting a tag team title match at TLC, where I just have a feeling that WWE is going to do the trolliest of trolls and have Asuka and Lana win the championships by having Lana get the pinfall and be like, look, see, we put her through that table for 10 weeks in a row, and it all was going to lead to this. Gag me with a spoon, please. So, we have Shayna vs. Asuka, which this is apparently their very first one-on-one match, which is kind of fucked up, because, honestly, Shayna Baszler should have won the Raw Women's title at WrestleMania, and they could have built between her and Asuka going into SummerSlam, but WWE went a different route. So, again, more Pat Patterson shit that we didn't need to see again. Basically, this match leads up to being Asuka, Shayna Baszler and Asuka were outside. Lana gets in the way. Nia Jax is out there. She tries to put her through the table. Lana gets out of that, sending her into the table, not through it. So she's trying to run away. Shayna Baszler is running around the ring inside, like, hey, where are you going? Get back here. What are you going? You can't get back here. Gets rolled up 1, 2, 3, and again, Shayna Baszler's made to look like the biggest idiots in the women's division. This badass who could go out there and just rip Lana's arms off and beat her with them, who was one of the second most dominant women's champion in NXT's history behind Asuka, is being made to look like an idiot. They're pretty much sacrificing her to Lana by having Lana outsmart her every step of the way. Sad. So Hardy versus Lashley was announced for later in the show, along with Kofi Kingston and Shelton Benjamin. We see the Hurt Business walking backstage now. They bully a young staffer as he gets in the way of Cedric Alexander. Cedric Alexander has been getting a lot more bold with his actions lately. We get a video package of the TLC match between AJ Styles and WWE Champion Drew McIntyre with the potential involvement of The Miz. Tonight's 2-on-3 handicap match featured McIntyre and Sheamus versus The Miz, Styles, and John Morrison. Tom hypes a mixed tag team match to send us to what happened between last week with Dana Brooke, Ricochet, and the members of Retribution. Backstage, we see Ricochet and Brooke talking some strategy. Riddle interrupts, looking for the United States Champion Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business, and Ricochet is annoyed. He offers some donuts, even though it says on the box, bro nuts. But ends up walking out, telling him to let him know if he sees Lashley and crew. Sailor Shriver interviews Ricochet and Brooke. Ricochet is confident about showing Retribution what shame or charge is all about. Brooke says it's all about teamwork, and Retribution will regret it if they try to disrespect them. She shows off her black eye and says she owes Reckoning one. So we have this match, Reckoning and Slapjack versus Dana Brooke and Ricochet. This is WWE's lazy booking. Last week we had Slapjack versus Ricochet and Dana Brooke versus Reckoning. What does WWE do? It's like, how do we get so lazy and so boring that nobody wants to watch our show? I have an idea. Let's take the two Retribution matches from last week and smash them into one. Mia Yim, aka Reckoning, got beat last week. Do you think WWE has the right idea to switch this around and actually have Reckoning get a win? No. Michinoku Driver by Dana Brooke onto Reckoning 1, 2, 3, and Reckoning gets beat 2 weeks in a row. What the fuck? Hey, at least Slapjack won last week, even though it was a 4-on-1 disadvantage, pretty much. But it's like, what's the point of Retribution if this is all you're going to do to them? They need to just disband this already and be done with it. Ali gets in the ring and yells at Reckoning's face, and Slapjack's blaming them for another loss and embarrassing him. Ricochet and Brooke watch from the stage as Ali exits the ring by himself. It is time to take Reckoning out of Retribution. Let the Blasian Baddie be the Blasian Baddie. Be herself. That's what she's good at. She can go out there, be a piece to the women's division on Raw. I don't think they would give her a championship run right now, but she could be better than this. They're wasting Dijakovic, Ali, and Mia Yim. The other two I don't give a shit about really, but Dijakovic, Ali, and Mia Yim deserve way better than this. Keith Lee, once again from last week, this week as well, approaches Sheamus in the back, and he's like, everyone in the locker room knows it's just a matter of time before Sheamus turns on Drew McIntyre and stabs him in the back. Sheamus stands up and gets in Lee's face, excusing him so he can turn on the champ and beat the hell out of him. He stares Lee down, walks off, back to commercial break. The question I have is, Keith Lee, what are you going to do if that's to happen? You going to run out there and save Drew McIntyre? Or are you just going to sit there and be like, I told you, I knew he was going to turn on him. What are you going to do? So, I just don't know. Miz TV, skip over the segment, I really don't care. Sheamus and McIntyre come in there, they beat the hell out of Miz and Morrison, we move on. Kofi Kingston versus Shelton Benjamin. This was a pretty decent match here. Kofi ends up getting the win with a Trouble in Paradise after Shelton Benjamin gets knocked to the floor. I honestly thought that he had a concussion or something because this dude gets up and he is just woozy. He gets up, he's up and then you hear 8 and he's like, oh shit, and gets into the ring and needs a Trouble in Paradise. So either Shelton Benjamin got knocked for a loop or he is really good at selling because damn, that didn't look good. After the match, Kofi and Woods head up the ramp, and MVP and Cedric check on Benjamin. Cedric takes the mic and calls Kofi back to the ring. His voice is cracked, but he's tired of the New Day slipping through the cracks, and he wants Kofi to come back to the ring, just so he can take care of business just like he did last week. Kofi comes back, and Xavier's like, dude, you're a bigger man than I am, because I would have left. Go get him, Kofi, go get him. So, Kofi, during his match with Shelton Benjamin, ended up injuring his knee. And Kofi Kingston It is pretty much the downfall for him here. He leaps off the top rope with a big right hand, but lands hurt on the hurt ankle. Cedric follows up with a lumbar check, 1, 2, 3, and Cedric Alexander gets the win. He turns wild with the celebration. MVP and Shelton join him on the ring as his music hits. I think they're already setting the seeds for Cedric Alexander to leave these guys, because it just seems like he's getting a little, like, the whole thing about the Hurt Business is that there are guys who go out there and hurt people, but do it professionally, and dress professionally, dress in big suits, and come out looking like big deals. Well, Cedric is winning matches and just over exuberant, not seeming very professional in his celebrations. I think that push comes to shove, eventually Cedric will be out of the Hurt Business. Hopefully with a bigger star than he was before. We see what happened between Jeff Hardy and Elias last week. Still to come, Hardy will face the United States Champion Bobby Lashley in a non-title match. Again, I don't know why this match is happening. Also to come, we'll celebrate the life of Pat Patterson. Again, overkill. We get a tribute to the inaugural Tag Team Intercontinental Champion Pat Patterson, who passed away at age 79. We got that. This is the same video package you saw on Friday. Again, WWE likes to overkill. You had your tribute show on Friday. You didn't need to do another one tonight. 2-on-3 handicap match, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus AJ Styles, The Miz, and John Morrison. This match, of course, is just happening because last week's tag team match got a little haywire, and AJ caused the DQ, so why don't we just add him to the match? Fuck, we have Keith Lee, who is one of Drew McIntyre's friends. Why couldn't you bring him in? He would have been a hell of an ad, but no, we're just going to make it 2-on-3. Little bit of miscommunication between Drew McIntyre and Sheamus with a bro kick, accidentally leveling McIntyre. Sheamus is caught off guard and upset with himself, which allows AJ to fly with a phenomenal forearm for the pin in the win. AJ sells with Omos at ringside, which, by the way, I'm glad they changed his name, because Jordan, whatever his last name was so difficult to say, in my opinion. I wish they would have went with Jordan Omos, but they went with Omos itself. Back from break, it announced Raw talk with Drew McIntyre, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander. We get a replay of the throw kick, and the announcers show us a pre-match backstage segment with Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler talking about how they're going to destroy Asuka. This was before, of course, Asuka's win over Shayna Baszler. Lana vs. Jax is announced for next Monday. Oh dear, how's that going to go? Are they really going to have Lana beat Nia Jax? That's gonna just even be worse. It's a match of two flunkies in the ring trying to entertain us, and it's gonna fail. We see Lana and Asuka backstage. Lana is worried about next week, thinking she will get slaughtered if she has to face Jax alone. Lana thinks she and Asuka can win the titles together, but there's no way she can face Jax alone next week. She goes on and on saying she can't do it. Asuka yells at her and tells her repeat after her, saying she can believe in herself. That she can beat Jax and they will become the women's tag team champions. Lana repeats Asuka and they repeat themselves, saying she can do it. She believes in herself and she can beat Jax. Asuka walks off. Lana turns around and she's terrified. Jax stares Lana down and Lana walks away in fear. Charlie Caruso approaches Sheamus backstage. He's pacing around. She asks about the accidental bro kick to McIntyre. Sheamus knows Drew is going to come back here and try to kick his ass, so he's going to try and kick Drew's ass back. So he asks if the kick was intentional, and he says it was not. Drew approaches and they face off. Sheamus asks if he knows the kick was accidental, and Drew acknowledges and asks Sheamus if he knows what's about to happen. They stare each other down. We go to commercial break. Back from break, and these two are beating the living piss out of each other. Then, for some stupid fucking reason, the dumbass Pat Buck gets in between these two, and is like, dude, stop it. You guys are going to stop. No fighting. Sheamus is like, is this dude serious? They beat the hell out of him, chokeslam him through a table, and that ends the fight. That ends the fight, and they go, and Sheamus says it's Drew's turn to buy the beers. They walk off together. It's official check on the back. So yeah, that was gonna happen, and y'all should know it was gonna happen. We go back to the ring, and out comes the United States Champion to take on Jeff Hardy. Again, I don't know why this match is happening. Jeff fights as much as he can. Lashley hits the Hurt Lock after a spear, and that's that. Lashley keeps the submission lock. Riddle gets on the apron. MVP tries to pull him off, but MVP gets kicked back to the barrier. Riddle enters the ring and makes a save, but Lashley shoves Hardy into him, knocking him back into the corner. MVP and Lashley back up the ramp together as Little stands with Hardy in the ring watching MVP eat his donuts. Didn't think MVP would be a donut guy, just saying. Especially with his character, it doesn't feel like that's something a guy who just wears these nice big suits would be sitting there snacking on donuts during a show. We see Randy Orton backstage in his locker room. Someone knocked on his door and he answered, but no one is there. Rambling Rabbit is there now. He says Bray Wyatt can't wait to see Orton in the ring tonight, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And we go back to commercial break. More Pat Patterson stuff because, again, WWE can't help themselves. I wouldn't be surprised if we see it on Wednesday for people who watch NXT and next Friday as well. Which, by the way, this is the final episode of WWE inside the Amway Center. They are right now constructing the new Thunderdome inside the Tropicana Field, home of the Rays. Which looks to be the WWE home until we have WrestleMania, at least. Out comes Randy Orton. We have this match with Bray Wyatt and him. This was Randy Orton beating the piss out of Bray Wyatt over and over and over again. And just Bray Wyatt laughing and smiling the entire time. And everything that he could do. And then Bray Wyatt goes for Sister Abigail. He misses. Randy Orton's got him where he wants him. He hit the draping DDT. He's in position to hit the RKO. So the lights start coming down. They stop right before they all go down. He hits the RKO. He goes for the pin. The lights go down completely. They come back up. It's red. Randy Orton looks like he's laying on top of Bray Wyatt, but it's The Fiend. And obviously this segment here was pre-taped because if they flashed it down and it flashed right back up like almost instantaneously. So this portion was definitely pre-taped. But he gets up, Randy Orton gets put into the mandible claw, and he is taken out by the Fiend as his arms go limp and he is done for the night. So the Fiend takes out Randy Orton. And that was the final episode of Monday Night Raw inside the Thunderdome as we know it now. We will see a new one on Friday night. This show sucks. This show is boring. I'm falling asleep. I'm trying my best to fight sleep and failing miserably. I literally have to go back and watch other parts of the show just because of how bad this show is. If you miss Monday Night Raw, if you just watch WWE for the pay-per-views, you're literally missing nothing on Raw. SmackDown has some good things. I mean, Jey Uso and Roman Reigns are still one of the best thing on SmackDown. And I don't really care about the Aaliyah Murphy shit anymore. I never did, really. But, yeah, that's it. The Amway Center, we are done with the era of the Amway Center. It was a good run. That's going to be seen with the Orlando Magic and whatever the ACHL team is called. But yeah, that is it. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The France Club. Find me on Twitch.tv. Find me on Parler at The France Club. Find me on Twitch.tv/The France Club. And find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys Wednesday for a real show that is actually fucking good. And I can't wait to see what the follow-up is to the heel turn of Kenny Omega. Till then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.